Welcome to the 17th annual anniversary to Tayitu Education and Cultural Center. I'll be your host tonight. Among us, we have a lot of people in the DMV area. We also have people as far from Canada, Boston, New York, Ohio, Germany, Kansas, Atlanta, San Jose. Give them a round of applause for those people, please. As event taking place, we have a live. We have Solomon Asfal, an artist he's going to be doing a live art. We'll be auctioning the art at the end of the program, when we start the auctioning program. So thank you for coming on time, really. We started just at time. Dinner will start, and as you're eating dinner, we'll be showing some pictures. So welcome. Let the dinner begin. So thank you. ትንሽ የፕሮግራም ለውጥ አድርገናል። ኮንግረስመን ራስከን ፕራዮር ኤንጌጅመንት ስላለው እሱን ወደፊት እናመጣዋለን። በዛው መሰረት እንሄዳለን። We have rearranged the program a little bit. Congressman Ruskin have a prior engagement, so We're going to invite him to the podium after I briefly read his bio. Congressman Ruskin is an American politician serving at the U.S. Representative for Maryland 8th Congressional District since 2017. The district anchored in Montgomery County, northwest of Washington, D.C., in the suburban area. As a law professor, he taught constitutional law legislation at the American University and the Washington College of Law. He served as the director of the college LLM program on law and government until his election to Congress. In November 2006, he was elected as Maryland State Senator for District 20, representing parts of Silver Spring and Tacoma Park in the Montgomery County. In 2012, he was named the majority whip for the Senate and was the chairman of Montgomery County Senate delegation, chairman of the Select Committee on Ethics Reform, and members of the Judiciary Proceeding Committee. Congressman Ruskin was a strong proponent of liberal issues in the Maryland Senate. He has been the sponsor of bills advocating same-sex marriage, the repeal of the death penalty in Maryland, the expansion of the state ignition interlock device program, and the establishment of the legal guidelines of benefit corporation, a corporate form, for-profit entities that wish to consolidate a material societal benefit, their bylaws, and the decision-making process. Congressman Ruskin is the author of We the Students, Supreme Court Cases for and About Students, and Overruling Democracy, the Supreme Court versus the American People. Ruskin, Miriam Ariana, and Andrew J. Ferguson co-authored Use Justice in America. Ruskin and John Bonfisa also co-authored the Wealth Primary Campaign Fundraising and the Constitution. Without further ado, Congressman Ruskin to the stage. Please give a hand of applause.
Samson, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. And welcome to Montgomery County. How many constituents do I have here from Montgomery County? All right. Oh, that's wonderful. And anybody from Frederick County? Or Carroll County? No. So we've got friends from Washington, D.C. here? Yeah. And anybody from Virginia? Yeah. Let's hear it for our friends from Virginia. Good work. Yes. Good work, Virginia. I'm thrilled you guys are here. I represent Montgomery, Frederick, and Carroll County, Maryland's 8th Congressional District in the U.S. House of Representatives. And I'm very proud that I represent Silver Spring, both in my congressional district and also before when I was the state senator from Silver Spring and Tacoma Park. And we've got a ton of vibrant, great Ethiopian restaurants and coffee shops like Kifa Cafe and just wonderful Ethiopian businesses here, which are an important part of our commerce and our culture. And I want to thank Mr. Bush for doing a great job on the dinner tonight. Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause. And I wanted to salute, of course, the executive director of the Cultural and Educational Center, Alemsi Wadacho. I thought I would just say a few words, and then I brought something to give to you guys in recognition of this milestone achievement. But I wanted to say, and I know I've got to be scrupulously nonpartisan here because it's a 501c3. So I thought actually I would start by invoking our last great Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, who spoke of government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And that's what America's all about, right? Of the people, by the people, and for the people. And I just want to say to our friends in Virginia, you know, in August of last year, we had a very gloomy and dismal presentation of maybe the worst in America in terms of what happened in Charlottesville. And that was in Virginia, and my sister lives there with her family, and that broke our hearts. to see what happened in America in 2017 with a march of neo-Nazis and Klansmen and skinhead through the University of Virginia, terrifying the people there and killing one young woman, Heather Heyer, who was murdered as part of it. But this past week, we saw America at its best, with all of the people of Virginia going out to vote and celebrating democracy. So I just want to welcome our friends from Virginia and thank you for your activism. I know that Virginia, like Maryland, is a great melting pot of people from all over the world, from Salvador and Mexico and Guatemala and Russia and Libya and France and England and Ethiopia and Eritrea. And the great thing about America is that you can maintain your ties and your connection to the original land that your family came from, but you also can come to experience other people's communities and other people's cultures too in a different way. And I understand that in Virginia, something wonderful that happened was that the Ethiopian community and the Eritrean community worked together in that election to help create that fantastic result. And so America is a country that's not defined by one race or one ethnicity or one religion or one political party, but we've got one Constitution, one Bill of Rights, with the dream that all of us will be equal and all of us will have equal rights under law and have the right to pursue life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness with the consent of the governed. And that dream is alive. That dream is alive today. And we're not going back to what we saw in Charlottesville in August. Are we going back? No, I don't think we are. We're going forward. So I'm thrilled to be able to celebrate this great cultural center, which is open to everybody in the Ethiopian community and anybody else who comes to be part of it too. So I thought it was important enough to introduce a resolution for special recognition in Congress. I don't get a lot of my bills passed these days, unfortunately, but I got this one passed, and I thought I would hustle over here on Sunday night before the president gets back from abroad and vetoes my resolution here. So I'm just going to read it, and I'll make a presentation to you, and it says, Certificate of Special Congressional Recognition presented Tayitu Cultural and Education Center in recognition of 17 years of community service and great artistic, cultural, and educational achievement in Montgomery County, Maryland, and beyond. Signed, Congressman Daniel. Very much, everybody. Come see me on Capitol Hill, all right?
አሁን የጣይቱ ማዕከል የባህልና የትምህርት ማዕከል ኤግዜክቲቭ ዲሬክተር አለምፀሐይ ወዳጆ መሸኘት ፈልጋ ነበረ። እሷን ወደ መድረክ ጋብዛታለሁ። ታይሙ እንትን እንዳይል ቶሎ ቶሎ እያልን ነው። I am going to invite to the stage the Executive Director of Tayitu Cultural and Education Center, the founder, multitasker,
Our distinguished guest, Professor Valina from Los Angeles, she's here. I'm so blessed to have you here, my dear. And also all the commissioners from Washington, D.C., dear colleagues and guests. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to you all for being here tonight to celebrate the 17th year of Tayitu Cultural and Educational Center. Before anything else, I thank my God who helped me to have the necessary courage to resist and guided me to achieve all the success, giving me the strength and health to be able to stay in the profession I adore, love and serve the people I dearly love and cherish. So tonight, we celebrate 17th year of the founding of this organization. Considering the amount of creative artists achieved are of many more years. The flourishing of young poets and actors, the increasing number of college students is proof that what we are doing is working. As Michelle Obama once said, and I quote, "Success is not about how much money you make. It's about the difference you make in people's lives." The main reason I stand before you is here today only to deliver my voice of thanks for all the supporters of Tayitu. Since the launching of the center, I have had a lot of folks reach out to me with letters of love and appreciation, and I want to take a moment and thank them now. There are those from far away who stood by me, sending me encouraging voices of support. Those I would very much to thank, as their supportive voices were my strength throughout. And my dear board members, thank you for being there with me and sharing your heart in all the meetings we had. Thank you for bringing your passion, intellect, experience, and the resource on the table. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for counseling me and challenging me. I thank all those who served on the committee and volunteered at different times and stood by the objectives of the center. All renowned poets, writers, young ones, thank you for participating in the monthly poetry nights. Thank you for expressing your ideas freely and working on yourself so that you can shine your light in the world. Actors, performers, playwrights, and directors, thank you for having the courage to continue doing what you love and follow your heart. Thank you for not listening to the doubts of the world, but rather your own intuition. Thank you for being of service to a power and an idea that's greater than all of us. Thank you for being there with me from the beginning, through the bumpy roads and late rehearsals. All my fans, supporters, thank you for your letters, phone calls, emails, questioning me, calling me out, and asking me to rise. Thank you for being an active force of performing arts and poetry. Thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will continue to do to make this world a better place. All of you, friends and admirers across the world, I dedicated this day and this moment to you. All community organizations, business owners, and kind-hearted people, thank you for your support and encouragement. Our success wouldn't have been possible without your help and generosity. This day wouldn't have been possible without you. I wouldn't have granted and continue to have this opportunity. I promise to continue to warrant your faith in me. I am also very grateful that I have all media people standing with me, musicians, painters, singers, dancers, photographers, camera and soundmans. You don't know how grateful I am. All I can say is thank you. If we stand together, we are a strong community who can change our beloved country and the daily life of our people. If we understand the power of art and media, we could have been a better world with love and freedom. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so pleased to introduce our chairman, Abel Gachet, who has been with us from the beginning of this organization. Abel completed his MBA in Rochester Institute of Technology and attended Tulane University in 1997, pursuing his PhD in finance. Ever since then, he has been serving in various capacities as a project manager and business consultant for various companies in the United States. He served in leadership roles for Ethiopian Community Center. He served in various board leadership positions, both civic, religious, and social in nature. He has led projects to promote literature and poetry in Tayitu Cultural Center. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Abel Gashe.
Distinguished guests, friends of Tayitu, and supporters of Tayitu, first of all, I just want to thank you for coming and supporting this wonderful support for this organization. I am really thrilled to see this because as board members, when we come together, we were so scared. I'll tell you that. We were so scared that we wouldn't even see 1/4 of this, but God is good. He gave us this crowd. Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you. It could be easy for me to just write and read something, but I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart what I feel about this organization. As you know, Tayitu, just in organizational terms, is a 501c organization. It has been in existence for the last 17 years. As you might have heard, it's an organization that just began as a small poetry setting, but now, where it is, it has become an international network organization, becoming, in fact, a beacon for all Ethiopians across the world to open their own poetry club. Remember, anytime when you think about organizations like Tayitu, we have to think of Ethiopia and the way the exodus in the last 50 years. Now, Ethiopians have become their own group of people in different parts of the world, especially in the Washington metropolitan area. There are at least more than 350,000 people who need their own culture, their own literature, their own value system established here, and we are becoming a potent force representing our society here in diaspora. And because of it, Tayitu has become that agency to bring our culture, our literature, our theaters here, so we can share what our people see back home. Saying that, I think if we go to the different accomplishments that Tayitu has delivered for the community, we can see it from the kind of theaters that we have seen the last 15 years. Tayitu is a new phenomenon in terms of bringing all the different actors from different parts of the state, including from Ethiopia, to bring their work here and deliver it for the public. Just most recently, we have seen the Theodore Vision, or the Theodore's Ride, that has been presented here and all different parts of the United States. And in fact, Alam has just come back from Europe after delivering that performance, great performance, especially in this very special time in our country where we need the message of unity as it has been outlined back 150 years ago by King of Kings Theodoros. That's the kind of organization that Tayitu has become. It has been a forum allowing more than 3,500 authors, young, accomplished ones, to come and present their performances, their poetries. There have been at least more than 17,000 presentations that have been made during this time. There have been 350 plays that have been presented in different parties at different times. It has afforded different players, theatrical or otherwise, to bring their performance and deliver it to people. Pretty much, Tayitu has become an ambassador of Ethiopian culture, literary work, and also the different kind of activism that needs Ethiopians' attention. Tayitu has been involved in that. Now, I can tell you line by line exactly what has been accomplished, but the most important thing is this. Ethiopians has become a force majeure in the last 50 years in this country, like Hispana, that has become also a symbol of Ethiopianism across the United States. Tayitu has become a symbol of Ethiopians' culture, literature, and artwork. One thing that Tayitu at this point has is that it's even having more opportunities to represent Ethiopians across the world. It's not just what you see here. There are states that have already their own poetry clubs and different theatrical performance units based on what Tayitu has inspired. Now, for many, they might not have the right awareness about this organization. They might think like it's a little kiosk poetry night that's going to happen just once a month, but that's not the case. Tayitu has now become a big institution that needs our help. There are challenges that we face, in as much as there are opportunities. While we know that there are many Ethiopians flocking from back home, and our size is growing, as I said, just in this area, there are more than 350,000 Ethiopians. That's documented in the research work I'm talking about. And we need that kind of service. We need to be connected. You know, like the Germans have their own German cultural institute, the Greeks have their own, the Indians have their own. We Ethiopians need one, because we are many in number, and we have a very ancient culture, not just for us, some things that we can market for the world population. The only way we can do that is when we come together and support an organization like Tayitu. And Tayitu is now becoming our cultural ambassador, representing us not just here, as I say, in Europe and different states. Go to California, Tayitu's name is there. Go to Canada, it is there. So we have this kind of organization that's meeting the challenge for us. A society will be a living society when it can grow its culture, when it can grow its literature, and Tayitu is playing that role. What's missing in this game? Tayitu is in a dire financial circumstance because it cannot support itself, because we don't have as much resource as we need. We have two challenges, or I can say the challenge that have can be put in two different levels. We have operational challenge because we cannot finance our operational performance. Pretty much, Alam is working free the whole time. We cannot pay her salary. She's not employed. We have to pay. That's part of the operation, right? But that's not even, she doesn't even need that. Just to cover our operational expenses like rent and those kind of things, we cannot afford that. We need the support of the community. That is when we need the awareness of our community supporting. At a second level and at a higher level is we're thinking that we need transformational change in Tayitu. How? We need its own multi-purpose cultural building to bring our different performances. It has been here for 17 years. In 17 years, because we are strong, we have built a lot of institutions. We have built a lot of churches, right? Because they are very important for life. And I can understand, we can easily see it in terms of what we get from going and nothing is quite like that. But our culture is a way we show that we are alive in terms of as a people. That's what I'm talking about. We need to support this organization. We have to have our enduring cultural institute, and Tayitu has already showed us the way. What is missing is the support we need from the community. I'm sure in 3 to 5 years, we like to see all of us coming together and having our own multi-purpose theatrical, literary buildings that we can use to deliver our performances. I'm sure Ethiopians are strong enough, resilient in coming together and helping. Tayitu needs one. You guys can win. That's what the message I want to deliver today. Thank you so much for coming again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Avijan. So our next program is the DC Proclamation presentation. And I'm going to invite to the stage Kadis Governmo. She works in the DC Mayor's office. She's the Commissioner for the African Affairs. Kadis works full-time and she's a PhD candidate. I don't know how she does it. I'm gonna invite Kadis up to the stage, please. Give her a hand. She's gonna bring the entire crew.
በመጀመሪያ እንኳን ለዚህ ቀን አደረሳችሁ ሁላችሁ። በእኔና በኮሚሽነሮቹ ስም እንኳን ለዚህ ቀን አደረሳችሁ ስል ለምወዳትና በጣም ለማከብራት እህቴ ብዬ ለምጠራት ዓለም ፀሐይ እንኳን አደረሰሽ እላለሁ። On behalf of the commissioners, I just want to say congratulations for the 17th anniversary of Tayitu Cultural Center. And also, I want to say congratulations to my beloved sister, hardworking, dedicated, and multitasking person, Alam Sahai Wadajan. It's now my pleasure to invite our chair of the commissioner, Attorney Lydia. Here she is.
So thank you so much. On behalf of the Commission on African Affairs, we want to say thank you so much and celebrate this landmark moment, 17 years of providing cultural arts and support in the space of cultural arts is an important milestone, something to support. One thing I will say is that as the chair of the Commission on African Affairs for the District of Columbia, we are your voice to the Mayor Bowser, to agencies and services to support Africans living, working, and creating in the district. And as Kadis has said, we support organizations like this because it shows that we are visible, that we are here, and that we are present. And in these times, if any times, those messages are very important. Yeah. So we, as the Commission here, support you. I filled out my card. I would urge you to do so as well, because as somebody who works all across the world, the power of cultural arts is such an important way of us showing not only our culture and heritage, but also showing unique ways that we can contribute to communities, that we can bring about small business, how we can thrive and work on economic development. So I want to say thank you so much for coming, thank you so much for having us as part of the Commission, and please support an organization like this that is like is a shining beacon of what creative arts and organizations that support our community can do. So thank you so much.
And now it's my pleasure to invite Commissioner Lafayette Barnes to read the proclamation from the Mayor's office.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So it's my distinct pleasure as a member of the Commission on African Affairs, as well as a member of the Mayor's Cabinet in Washington, D.C. I'm the director of a small office called the Office of Partnerships and Grant Services. And some of you may remember that I was here last year. And so I'm glad to be back again this year. One challenge that I want to just present to you before I read the proclamation, because we work with a lot of nonprofit organizations, and most of the nonprofits that we work with are looking for resources. When I look at this beautiful crowd this evening and think about the thousands of people that this organization is serving in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, the challenge that I want to present to you is to look at not only the crowd that's here tonight, but also the crowdfunding that we can do together, the collective contributions to support this organization, so that today's celebration of 17 years is just the next quarter of the next 17 years to support this organization. So let's give our distinguished leader over here a big hand before I read the proclamation. And so, let me read the proclamation. So congratulations to Tayitu Cultural and Educational Center. As the mayor of Washington, D.C., of course I'm not the mayor, Mayor Muriel Bowser, it is her pleasure to extend congratulations to the Tayitu Cultural and Educational Center for 17 years of community service. Tayitu Cultural and Educational Center was founded in 2000 to nurture the arts and culture of Ethiopians and promote it among the uniquely diverse community of Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. As you celebrate this most special occasion, I applaud Tayitu Cultural and Educational Center for your many contributions through arts and culture that undoubtedly enrich our diverse community. On behalf of the residents of the District of Columbia, Mayor Bowser would like to wish you a wonderful, successful, and enjoyable celebration. Mayor Muriel Bowser. May I present this to our distinguished executive.
Thank you, Commissioner Lafayette and the team. Thank you. We also have a special guest among us, Professor Helena Houston. I'm going to read a brief bio and invite her to the stage. Yes? A USC distinguished professor, Helena Houston is the director of MFA Dramatic Writing, head of undergraduate playwright, associate dean of faculty, and resident playwright at the USC School of Dramatic Arts. She began her writing career in New York, off-Broadway at Manhattan Theater Club and the Negro Ensemble Company. She expanded to numerous productions and presentations at U.S. regional theater to international global institutions ranging from opera to intimate theaters and and regional theater to international global institutions ranging from opera to intimate theaters and including 24 commissions. Producers include the Old Globe Theater, Pittsburgh Public Theater, Smithsonian Institution, Syracuse Stage, Georgia State Playhouse, the Pasadena Playhouse, Barrington State, Los Angeles Opera, and others. Professor Houston also is a librettist, opera, book writer, lyricist, musical theater, essayist, poet, screenwriter, and novel. Just like Alam, she's a multitasker. She has been awarded fellowship from Japan Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, Mellon Foundation, Wallace Foundation, Leah Wallace Reader Digest Fund, Aurora Foundation, Doris Duke Charitable Foundation, and others. She has been honored by the Kennedy Center, Sydney Poitier, American Film Institute, Pinter Review Prize of Drama, LA State Alliance, and others. Her plays are studied globally throughout Asia, Europe, the US, and published with Dramatist Play Services, Smith and Cross, Vintage Books, Random House, Temple University Press, and others. She has written as a journalist for the Los Angeles Times, American Theater, the Rafu Shimpo Pacific Citizen, Mademoiselle Magazine, and the Kansas City Star, and for film and television with Columbia Pictures, PBS, and several independent producers. She co-produced the documentary Desert Dreamers, narration by Peter Fonda, and served as multicultural consultant for Disney for Hayao Miyazaki film Kiki Deliver Service. She penned the screenplay for Path of Dreams, produced by 11 arts and true heart films. Her essay appears in several volumes, sorry, including Red, Yellow, Black, Brown, Rutgers University Press, and Amerasia Journal. Her novel Tea is biased upon her critically acclaimed play Tea. She served for 6 years on the U.S. Department of State's U.S.-Japan Conference on Cultural and Educational Inter-Exchange, Japan-U.S. Friendship Commission, and Japan-U.S. Bridging Foundation. She was research advisor for the contemporary British, Irish, and American poetic drama and theater. Ayoma Gakun Dagiku, sorry if I mispronounced the names. Tokyo for 2 years. Her works are archived in the Library of Congress, Washington, D.C., and in the Huntington Library Arts Collection, and Botanical Garden in San Marino, California. At USC, she directs the Master of Fine Arts in Dramatic Writing program and is also inaugural associated faculty member of the USC Shinso Ito Center of Japanese Religion and Culture, a Fulbright scholar. She is a member of Dramatists Guild Writers, Guild of American West, the League of Professional Theater of Women, and Alliance of Los Angeles Playwrights. She serves on the editorial board of the Journal of Critical and Mixed Race Studies. Without further ado, please welcome Professor Houston to the stage. I was sitting right next door the whole time when I was here.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I want to congratulate the Tayitu Cultural and Educational Center for 17 years of contributing to the community. I also want to congratulate you all, too, because it's so important to come here and represent your community and also to be here to support an organization that is helping your community, educating the larger community about your culture through arts and arts education. That's a very powerful thing. So thank you to everyone involved with the Cultural Educational Center, and I also want to thank the musicians, the people who provided this great food. So thank you to everyone, and especially, and I hope, you know, it's interesting, I was born in Japan, and I'm Japanese and African American and Native American, Indian, and Cuban. So I speak Japanese, but I don't speak Amharic. But many years ago, I met Lemsai Wadasho in Los Angeles. She came, I produced a program called Voices from the Black Diaspora, and we had a black playwright from London, a black playwright from Toronto, Canada, and Lemsai, and also a playwright from Melbourne, Australia. And the students at the University of Southern California, Los Angeles, they adored you because of her heart and humanity, and those are the two things that have brought me here to DC for this visit, so thank you. So I'm going to share a few comments with you, and I promise you that it will be shorter than my bio. So I want to say, and by the way, I'm primarily a playwright. I love the theater. And that's the other thing that connects the two of us, the theater. And so my comments are geared around the power of theater, but it really speaks to the larger subject of empowering a community and a culture through the arts of all kinds, and as I said, specifically theater because of our work. Okay, so my career is dedicated to the expression of people of color and women. And there are several reasons for this. The chief reason is that the voices of women and people of color, cultures of color in general, often are avoided or marginalized or completely eliminated from mainstream artistic expression, especially in the land of the free and the home of the brave. So as Ethiopian immigrants, or the descendants of Ethiopian immigrants, surely you must comprehend what I mean by this. You have important stories to tell that can both illuminate the normalcy of Ethiopian American life in the American mainstream, but also illuminate characteristics that are distinct to your diaspora and culture. So weaving these expressions into the American mainstream both strengthens and invigorates the tapestry of all American life. An important dimension of that artistic expression is the dramatic arts. And when I was serving on the Department of State's Japan-US Friendship Commission, one of the things we often discussed is what we call soft power. When we talked about hard power, we talked about politics, business, and organized religion, but we also talked about soft power, which was arts and culture. So dramatic art is a soft power that can teach others about your culture in very potent ways. In fact, theater can influence thought and galvanize change in others in ways that often elude hard power means. Theater is a powerful tool for illuminating the human experience in an art form that engages its audiences and that allows the spectator to coexist with artists as the art is being made, and indeed to be a part of the artistic journey. If you think about it, if you go to the museum, you look at the picture, but the painter is not usually beside you. The painter is not beside you to explain what that journey is. And in the theater, you hear the artist breathing, and they hear you breathing. Film can't do that, theater can do that, poetry can do that, but the museum and the film cannot do that, and theater does that. In the 19th century, many society leaders predicted that the theater was going to die. They predicted the death of the theater. And one of these prophets was in the theater himself. It was the Norwegian playwright, Henrik Ibsen. In the 1880s, he predicted that theater would die. But he was very wrong. He was wrong because theater continues to thrive despite the challenging circumstances of existing in communities that often do not understand the importance and soft power strength of theater, and they also do not support and sustain its presence. So in these times of very intense technology, you know, everybody's walking around with a cell phone in their hand, right? So in these times, not only does theater thrive, but it's become even more necessary to uphold the human experience and the engagement of the spectator in the artistic journey. However, theater, particularly theater that is outside of mainstream expression, needs the attention and support of non-mainstream communities to continue to resonate. It is an artistic expression that deserves cultivation and attention as people of color and women strive to have their voices, indeed your voices, the voices of any community that is outside the mainstream, heard. So with a visionary, Shachita Sahai, you should be inspired to illuminate and support theater art and organizations like this as a resonant vehicle for cultural expression and impact. What they do in going out to the schools and having the poetry readings, taking plays out, the people that come to see those, they are seeing representations of your culture, and that goes out into the mainstream and it educates in a different kind of way. So I hope that all of you will, in some way or another, take up the call to arms and not to use war to bring about change, but to use the arts. Thank you very much.
ትንሽ ቃል ለመናገር ፈልጌ ነው ስለ ፕሮፌሰር በሊና። ፕሮፌሰር በሊና I met her first in Los Angeles. Of course, you heard her bio. She is a professor, a playwright, and a director. But most of all, she's a very nice person. She tried to help all the playwrights. She makes sure that they get a stage to produce their work. And that's how I met her in Los Angeles. I was fortunate. One of my plays was chosen in Los Angeles and produced because of Belina. And I really want to thank her. Happened. And now Belina, we want her to have a small souvenir from Ethiopia, and so that she can use it as a jewelry box. My chairperson, Abel, will present her. Look at these beautiful things I want her to have. Thank you for all the work you are doing, for all the playwrights in the world. Really, thank you.
Sorry.
ada